a difficult...
Welcome back, KRON 4 News Weekend. So the book is called He Said What? Women Write About Moments When Everything Changed. It's edited by Victoria Zackheim. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks for inviting me.
He Said What?
My He Said What experience was at the Esalen Institute in the early 80s when I was there as a writer, sort of documenting the first Stalinism conference, and a little run-in that I had with Alexander Bovin, who at the time was the political observer at Izvestia, and an enormous man who at the end of the conference was laying out in the hot tub area with wearing the largest swimsuit in the world. And I jokingly said to him, a man who spoke not a word of English, "Bovin, take off your bathing suit." And my He Said What moment was his response to me.
Which you can't.
Which I actually cannot repeat on television if there are children watching.
You can repeat part of it. It referred to certain portions of the anatomy, but anyway.
About not exposing certain communist parts in a capitalist society, yes.
So many of these are poignant, funny, some of them are infuriating. Pick a couple.
Well, I think Christine O'Hagan wrote in her essay, The Irish Flu, about her alcoholic father when he was dying. And he had been quite a brutal man to her physically, but mainly verbally. And when he was in the hospital, she went to see him, and they were finally alone in the room without her mother there to monitor the conversation. And, of course, the Irish flu was the alcoholism she was referring to. And he turned to her and said, "I was a lousy father." And it validated everything she had felt throughout her life, but it also opened a door for her for forgiveness.
Outrageous moments? I read one in the tease before, the one about I had a late dinner. It's 4:30 a.m.
Right. Barbara Abercrombie, wonderful writer. Carrie Kayback writes about sexual awakening in England in a little Irish enclave with all the nuns around them and all the rules and regulations that had been imposed on these girls to not know that sexuality even existed. And it's very, very funny. So I'm trying to think, too. Amy Ferris writes about running away from home at the age of 15, dropping out of high school. Her mother, is devastated by it. Her father takes her to the airport and slips some money into her hand. She's on her way to the West Coast to join a commune with her boyfriend in Oregon, and he whispers in her ear, "I can't make your mistakes for you."
Yeah.
And which is, and of course, what he's actually saying is, "I wish I could."
Why did you pick what men said to women?
I think I must have been somewhere a year and a half ago where I heard someone say, "He said what?" And it just stuck with me, and I thought, well, there's an anthology in the making, and so I pitched it to my agent, and so this is it.
The next book will include What Arnold Said to Maria.
Oh, imagine. That's an entire book of itself.
And it's going to be titled What Arnold Said to Maria.
Yes.
The book is called He Said What? Women Write About Moments When Everything Changed. Some wonderful authors in here. Do you have any particular favorites?
Starhawk wrote a wonderful essay about a blind date and a man walking in, and he walks right through the door, and the first thing out of his mouth is, "This isn't going to work." And her response is, you already know that just by walking into my house? She said, well, maybe it was the fact that I had all these housemates wandering through, or maybe it was all the goddess images that were all over my walls. And but really... Well, who knew?
Probably true.
Yeah.
So what did well, there's so much material in here that we can deal with. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure.
He said what? I said, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the amazing double life. And we're going to talk about pregnancy. It's coming up on KRON 4 News Weekend.